Krishna Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamiti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatadeshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So I think we are reading from text 125, I believe.
133 Prabhuji.
133, okay. Thank you, Prabhuji. Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Okay, so we are continuing again the CC Madhya Lila, Madhvendra Puri's devotional service pastime. So please, whoever wants to read, please raise your hand, or the chat box you can ask. Shiralahi Eyara Nama Madhapuri Tomalagi Gopinath Khira Kaila Chori. Anybody wants to read? Lakshmati, yes, go ahead.
Translation. Holding the pot of sweet rice, the priest called, "Will he whose name is Madhavendra Puri please come and take this pot? Gopinatha has stolen this pot of sweet rice for you." Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. The difference between the absolute truth and relative truth is explained here. Lord Gopinatha has openly declared herein that he is a thief. He had stolen the pot of sweet rice. And this was not kept a secret because his act of stealing is a source of great transcendental bliss. In the material world, theft is criminal, but in the spiritual world, the Lord stealing is the source of transcendental bliss. Mundane rascals who cannot understand the absolute nature of the personality of Godhead sometimes call Lord Sri Krishna immoral, but they do not know that his seemingly immoral activities, which are not kept secret, afford pleasure to the devotees. Not understanding the transcendental behavior of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, these rascals slur his character and immediately fall into the category of miscreants. Rascals, lowest among men, demons, and those whose knowledge is taken away by the illusory energy. Krishna explains in the Bhagavad Gita 7.15. Namam dushkritino muda prapadyante nardma Maya Pahrita Gnana Ashuram Bhavam Ashritaha. Those miscreants who are grossly foolish, who are lowest among mankind, whose knowledge is stolen by illusion, and who partake of the atheistic nature of demons, do not surrender unto me. Bhagavad Gita 7.15. Mundane rascals cannot understand that whatever Krishna does, being absolute in nature, is all good. This quality of the Lord is explained in Srimad Bhagavatam 10.33.29. One may consider certain acts of a supremely powerful person to be immoral by mundane calculations, but this is not actually the case. For example, the sun absorbs water from the surface of the earth, but it does not absorb water only from the sea. It also absorbs water from filthy sewers and ditches containing urine and other impure substances. The sun is not polluted by absorbing such water. Rather, the sun makes the filthy place pure. If a devotee approaches the Supreme Personality of Godhead for an immoral or improper purpose, he nonetheless becomes purified. The Lord does not become infected. In Srimad Bhagavatam 10.29.15, it is stated that if one approaches the Supreme Lord, even out of lust, anger, or fear, kamam, krodam, bayam. Sorry, Prabhuji. Kamam, Krodam, Bayam, he is purified. The gopis, being young girls, approached Krishna because he was a beautiful young boy. From the external point of view, uh, they approached the Lord out of lust, and the Lord danced with them at midnight. From the mundane point of view, these activities may appear immoral because a married or unmarried young girl cannot leave home to mix with a young boy and dance with him. Although this is immoral from the mundane viewpoint, the activities of the gopis are accepted as the highest form of worship because it was Lord Krishna whom they approached with lusty desires in the dead of night. But these things cannot be understood by non devotees. One must understand Krishna in tattva, truth. One should use his common sense and consider that if simply by chanting Krishna's holy name one is purified, how then can the person Krishna be immoral? Unfortunately, mundane fools are accepted as educational leaders and are offered exalted posts for teaching irreligious principles to the general populace. This is explained in Srimad Bhagavatam 7.5.31. Under Etandair Upaniyamana, blind men are trying to lead other blind men. Due to the immature understanding of such rascals, common men should not discuss Krishna's pastimes with the gopis. A non devotee should not even discuss his stealing sweet rice for his devotees. It is warned that one should not even think about these things. Although Krishna is the purest of the pure, mundane people thinking of Krishna's pastimes that appear immoral themselves become polluted. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu therefore never publicly discussed Krishna's dealings with the gopis. He used to discuss these dealings only with the three confidential friends. He never discussed Ras Leela publicly, as the professional reciters do, although they do not understand Krishna or the nature of the audience. However, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu encouraged the public chanting of the holy name on a huge scale for as many hours as possible. Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Malakshmi Mataji, for reading the long purport. So, as the background, all of you know, Lord has personally stolen the sweet rice, and he appeared in the dream of the priest and telling, "Utha, utha, wake up, wake up the pujari," and told, go come to my my mandir, my deity place, and I had a sweet pot. I have a pot of sweet rice, which is Amrit Keli, and go to the market, find a person named Madhvendra Puri, and go give it to him. So priest took shower, he took the sweet pot, wiped the place, and now he's taking the sweet pot and calling everybody in the market, who is Madhvendra Puri? Who is Madhvendra Puri? And then he tells, Gopinath Bhagwan has taken a sweet pot for you. So that is the storyline. And Srila Prabhupada explains many amazing things in this purport. In short, these pastimes of Krishna are his intimate dealing with his devotees. And, like Makhan Chor, Krishna is stealing the butter. Krishna is stealing the cloth. Krishna is stealing like the sweet rice. So the mundane people, Prabhupada uses the word mundane rascal. So they cannot understand these loving pastime of between the bhakta and the Supreme Lord. But these pastimes give great bliss to all the devotees. And then Srila Prabhupada, went further and talking mainly about the gopis pastime. That the gopi pastimes also, they are very intimate dealing between the Bhagwan and his devotees. But people, because of lust, anger, fear, they just think something, these pastimes are mundane, or they just cannot appreciate that Bhagwan is reciprocating with his devotee in that manner. So they have their own mundane conception, and they think in the same way that they behave themselves, they think it's a similar way for Bhagwan also. That is why we should not discuss the 5 chapter Rasa Panchodhyay, the five in the Srimad Bhagavatam, with the people who are not sahrda, who are not so much, rasik, or who are not on that level, who can understand and appreciate the beautiful surrender of the gopi and the reciprocation of the Lord with his devotees. Okay, so let us continue. Shiralana sukha tumi kara bhakshan, tomar sama bhagyavan nahi tribhuvan. Achyuta Mataji, please go ahead. For
The
next
priest,
5 purports, 4-5.
sure, Prabhu. The priest continued, would the sannyasi, whose name is Madhavendra Puri, please come and take this pot of sweet rice and enjoy the prasadam with great happiness? You are the most fortunate person within these 3 worlds. Purport. Here is an example of a personal benediction by Krishna's immoral activity. By Gopinath stealing for his devotee, the devotee becomes the most fortunate person within the three worlds. Thus, even the Lord's criminal activities make his devotee the most fortunate person. How can a mundane rascal understand the pastimes of Krishna and judge whether he is moral or immoral? Since Krishna is the absolute truth, there are no mundane distinctions such as moral or immoral. Whatever he does is good. This is the real meaning of God is good. He is good in all circumstances because he is transcendental, outside the jurisdiction of this material world. Therefore, Krishna can be understood only by those who are already living in the spiritual world. This is corroborated in the Bhagavad Gita 14:26. Mam cho vyabhicharena bhakti yogena sevate sagunan samatitaitan brahma bhuyaya kalpate. One who engages in full devotional service, unfailing in all circumstances, at once transcends the modes of material nature and thus comes to the level of Brahman. One who is engaged in unalloyed devotional service to the Lord is already situated in the spiritual world, Brahma Bhuyaya Kalpate. In all circumstances, his activities and dealings with Krishna are transcendental and thus not understandable by mundane moralists. It is therefore better not to discuss such activities among mundane people. It is better to give them the Hare Krishna Mahamantra so that they can gradually be purified and then come to understand the transcendental activities of Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji. So here the priest is telling Shri Madhvendra Puri that he's with great happiness, he's giving the prasadam to him, the kheer, and is telling you are most fortunate person, Toma Sama Bhagyavana Nahi Tribhuvana. In the three world, there is nobody as fortunate as you. So basically this is what the priest is telling. Because just for you, the Lord, the Bhagavan Gopinath has stolen the kheer. And then Srila Prabhupada nicely compares that the moral and the immoral things, all this thing is applies to this material world. We cannot apply the same logic to the Bhagavan. In ultimate reality, everything belongs to him only, including all of us. So to think in a way moral or immoral to Bhagavan, whatever he does is the perfect. Whatever he says is the perfect. So, and we should understand through the words of acharyas and the great devotees. Then only we can understand. Otherwise, we will always have some doubts for sure. That why Bhagavan did this, why he did that. So this is what Srila Prabhupada is trying to convey here. Eta suni puri gosai parichaya dila shira diya pujari tanre dandavat haila. Achyuta Mataji, continue.
Hearing this invitation, Madhavendra Puri came out and identified himself. The priest then delivered the pot of sweet rice and offered his obeisances, falling flat before him. A Brahmana is not supposed to offer his obeisances by falling flat before anyone because a Brahmana is considered to be in the highest caste. However, when a Brahmana sees a devotee, he offers his dandavats. This Brahmin priest did not ask Madhavendra Puri whether he was a Brahmin, but when he saw that Madhavendra Puri was such a bona fide devotee that Krishna would even steal for him, he immediately understood the position of the saint. As stated by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Kiba Vipra Kiba Nyasi Shudra Naya Kene Naya Yei Krishna Tattvaveta Sei Guru Hai. Had the Brahman priest been an ordinary Brahman, Gopinath would not have talked with him in a dream. Since the deity spoke to both Madhavendra Puri and the Brahman priest in dreams, practically speaking, they were on the same platform. However, because Madhavendra Puri was a senior Vaishnava, sannyasi Vaishnava, a Paramahamsa, the priest immediately fell flat before him and offered obeisances.
So this is how we can learn from this that how one Brahmana, how one devotee reciprocates with another devotee. And when he sees the greatness of another devotee, he bow obeisances to him. And Srila Prabhupada writes that, although they were on a similar platform, because they both got the dream, because Madhavendra Puri was senior sannyasi, the priest immediately fell before him and offering obeisances. So whenever we should see, a great Vaishnava, so we should also offer our obeisances that, Krishna loves them more. They have pleased Krishna so much. So their greatness is, is exhibited through that way. So, and she was also quoted that, there is Kiba Vipra Kibenyasi, Shudra Kenahai, so different caste, different thing, this doesn't matter. Ultimately what matters is how much devotion, how much love we have for Krishna. And the Brahmana appreciates the quality that because of this particular devotee, Gopinathji stole the sweet rice. So no feeling, nothing of enmity, envy, there is nothing like that. In fact, he appreciated offering his obeisances. So that's what he did. Shirera Vritanta Tandre Kahila Pujari Suni Prema Vistahaila Shri Madhava Puri.
When the story about the pot of sweet rice was explained to him in detail, Sri Madhavendra Puri at once became absorbed in ecstatic love of Krishna.
So we can also see, when the great devotees like Madhavendra Puri, when they desire something, and as we recall the story, he desired just for a moment. I wish I can taste the small amount of, spoon of Amrit Keli so that I can prepare for my deities in Gopal. But just see how Gopinathji took it so seriously, the desire of his devotee. He did all of this kind of thing. Same thing with Rukmaniji, right? He, he left the battle, was fighting, and he was called as Ranachor. But he went for his devotee and, took Rukmaniji. So Krishna is always, he will reciprocate, and especially with his pure devotee, it doesn't matter to him. He will fulfill their desire, and that's why I always hear from our Acharya Varga that we should try to live, or we should try to fulfill the desires of our Guru Varga, our spiritual master and Srila Prabhupada, because they are dear to Lord. We are not so dear. They are very dear to Bhagavan. And when we live to fulfill some of their desire, that is our greatness of life. That is our fulfillment of life. That is how we are acting as Gopi, Bhartara, Das, 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 and Das. We are living to fulfill their desire. And this is what Krishna is interested in, When we are trying to fulfill his devotee's desire, Krishna becomes pleased. Prema dekhi sevak kahe haya vismita, Krishna ye inhara vasa haya yathochita.
Upon seeing the ecstatic loving symptoms manifest in Madhavendra Puri, the priest was struck with wonder. He could understand why Krishna had become so much obliged to him, and he saw that Krishna's action was befitting. Purport: a devotee can bring Krishna perfectly under his control. This is explained in Srimad Bhagavatam 10.14.3. Ajita jito api asites trilokyam. Krishna is never conquered by anyone, but a devotee can conquer him through devotional service. As stated in the Brahma Samhita 533, Vedeshu durlabham adurlabham atma bhakto. One cannot understand Krishna simply by reading Vedic literature. Although all Vedic literature is meant for understanding Krishna, one cannot understand Krishna without being a lover of Krishna. Therefore, along with the reading of Vedic literature, Swadhyaya, one must engage in devotional service of the deity, Archana Vidhi. Together, these will enhance the devotee's transcendental understanding of devotional service. Shravanadi Suddha Chitte Karayar Uday. Love of Godhead is dormant with everyone's heart, and if one simply follows the standard process of devotional service, it is awakened. But foolish, mundane people who simply read about Krishna mistakenly think that he is immoral or criminal.
Thank you, Mataji. Let's continue. Anyone else want to read? Please let me know. Etabali namaskari karila gaman, avesha karila puri sei shira bhakshan.
The priest offered his obeisances to Madhavendra Puri and returned to the temple. Then, in ecstasy, Madhavendra Puri ate the sweet rice offered to him by Krishna.
Just imagine, you desired one thing, one small thing, and Krishna fulfilled the desire, and Krishna reciprocated in such a nice way. How much the devotee will be feeling the ecstasy, Oh, Krishna, I just desired very small thing, and you did this for me. Oh my God, direct reciprocation. So how much ecstasy Shri Madhavendra Puri was feeling. पात्र प्रक्षालन करी खंडे खंडे कैले बहिर्वा से बंदी से ठिकारी रखिले.
After this, Madhavendra Puri washed the pot and broke it into pieces. He then bound all the pieces in his outer cloth and kept them nicely.
So khanda kaile. So all the pots pieces were broken. They kept in his outer cloth. Anyone else want to read?
I can read.
Sure, Mona Mataji. Pratidina eka khani. Oh, I think we did that. No. Pratidina eka khani karan bhakshan. Khaila prema vasahai adbhuta kathan.
Each day, Madhavendra Puri would eat one piece of the earthen pot, and after eating it, he would immediately be overwhelmed with ecstasy. These are wonderful stories.
So this is Mahaprasad of the Lord. Even though the kheer is over, he is relishing the pot. ठाकुर मोरा शीरा दिला लोका सब सुनी दीना लोका भीड़ा हवे मोरा प्रतिष्ठा जानी.
Having broken the pot and and bound the pieces in his cloth, Madhavendra Puri began to think, "The Lord has given me a pot of sweet rice, and when people hear of this story tomorrow, there will be great crowds."
So this is how, because when people will hear, oh, this happened, so he was worried that lot of people will come and surrounding him, and his fame will increase. Because when he reached to Yamuna, nobody knows him, and he's just an ordinary sadhu being there. But now he's afraid that by knowing this pastime, and there will be a lot of crowd coming up. Sei bhaya ratri shesha chalila Shri Puri, sei khane Gopinatha dandavat kari.
Thinking this, Sri Madhavendra Puri offered his obeisances to Gopinatha on the spot and left Ramuna before morning.
चली चली आईला पुरी श्रीनीला चला जगन्नाथ देखी हायला प्रेम आत विह्वल.
Walking and walking, Madhavendra Puri finally reached Jagannatha Puri, which is also known as Nilachala. There he saw Lord Jagannatha and was overwhelmed with his love ecstasy.
So just connecting the background of the story, the purpose of Madhavendra Puri ji to going to this place is to collect chandan from Malaya Hills, which is in Jagannath Puri. So that is his major purpose, and that is why he's passing through the place of Remuna where Gopinath ji is there. But his main purpose is to get the sandalwood from that place. So before his fame will increase, he wants to quickly leave that place and go to Puri so that he can do his business. I've heard from my Guru Maharaj, he always says, the people of this world are always working very hard to increase their fame. YouTube, Instagram, follower, people appreciate, oh, he's a nice person, very nice, this and that, you know. So there's always, that people know him, that I'm so famous, I know this person, I'm this and I'm that. But a great devotee, he is not interested in being famous at all. Krishna makes him famous automatically. A great devotee, do not follow the fame. The fame follow the great devotees. So that's how it is. Wherever they go, the fame is automatically running behind them. But they are not worried about the fame. प्रेमावेशे उठे पड़े हासे नाचे गाए जगन्नाथ दर्शन महा सुख पाए.
When Madhavendra Puri was overwhelmed in the ecstasy of love of Godhead, he sometimes stood up and sometimes fell to the ground. Sometimes he laughed, danced, and sang. In this way, he enjoyed transcendental bliss by seeing the Jagannatha deity.
This is how the great devotee feels, when they see the Lord, you know, basically all the symptoms of ecstasy is exhibiting. So, anyone else want to read? Hare Krishna, please let me know. माधवपुरी श्रीपादैला लोका हैला ख्याति सब लोका आसीतन रे करे बहु भक्ति.
Can I read, Prabhu?
Sure, Prabhuji.
When Sri Madhavendra Puri came to Jagannath Puri, people were aware of his transcendental reputation. Therefore, crowds of people came and offered him all sorts of respect and devotion.
So basically, in Jagannath Puri, they already knew, they already came to know what has happened in Remuna. So they understood the Gopinath has stolen kheer for this particular devotee, and now he's in Jagannath Puri. So people are coming up with and giving all set of respect to Shri Madhavendra Puri. प्रतिष्ठा थारे स्वभाव ए जगत विदिता ये न वांछेता रहा विदहत निर्मिता.
Even though one may not like it, reputation, as ordained by Providence, comes to him. Indeed, one's transcendental reputation is known throughout the entire world.
प्रतिष्ठा थारे भयपुरी गेल पालन कृष्ण प्रेम प्रतिष्ठा चले संग गदन.
Being afraid of his reputation, Pratishtha, Sripad Madhavendra Puri fled from Remuna. But the reputation brought by love of Godhead is so sublime that it goes along with the devotee as if following him.
Purport, Prabhuji.
Okay, Prabhu. Almost all the conditioned souls within the material world are envious. Jealous people generally turn against one who automatically attains some reputation. This is natural for jealous people. Consequently, when a devotee is fit to receive worldly reputation, he is envied by many people. This is quite natural. When a person out of humility does not desire fame, people generally think him quite humble and consequently give him all kinds of fame. Actually, a Vaishnava does not hanker after fame or great reputation. Sripad Madhavendra Puri, the king of Vaishnavas, bore his reputation, but he wanted to keep himself outside of the vision of the general populace. He wanted to cover his real identity as a great devotee of the Lord. But when people saw him overwhelmed in the ecstasy of love of Godhead, they naturally gave credit to him. Actually, a first class reputation is due Sripad Madhavendra Puri because he was most confidential devotee of the Lord. Sometimes a Sahajiya presents himself as being void of desires for reputation, Pratishtha, in order to become famous as a humble man. Such people cannot actually attain the perfect platform of celebrated Vaishnava.
Thank you, Prabhuji. So this is a very nice purport. As I mentioned, uh, Shri Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur says, Puja Labh Pratishtha Shukar Vishta. So we know the six gross anarthas, right? So prominently we know those: envy, jealousy, lust, greed, you know. But this is puja, labh, pratishtha. Even in the devotee circle, when we come to bhakti, we look for puja. Oh, Prabhuji, Hare Krishna. Labh, how can I get benefit? And pratishtha, no, he's a senior devotee. He's been practicing from 15 years, 20 years. I should be recognized. I should be recognized. I am this. I have done Bhakti Vaibhav, Bhakti Shastri. I have met so many devotee. I have this post and position. And we often compare also. And when we see somebody else more famous than us, we feel envious. Oh, this guy is so famous. Why don't I have that? So this is the nature of conditional soul. We feel envious or jealous in the heart. So these are the subtle anarthas, and we should understand that Krishna does not like when we envy or when we jealous his devotee, and these subtle anarthas, looking for pratishtha, we should always be humble. That I do not deserve. Krishna, I do not deserve to be a devotee. I do not deserve to get holy name. I do not deserve to get a guru. I do not deserve to serve Srila Prabhupada. I do not deserve to get this air and so many things you have given me. And I'm always still hankering for this puja labha pratishtha. You know. So we should always be very fearful of this great reputation. That's why Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself, he was afraid, going meeting a king's, Pratap Rudra, even though he was a great devotee. Still, king is always engaged in so many political and this activity. I don't want to meet the king. So that's how it is basically. So very, very important aspect. As a subtle anartha, it often troubles us, but we should read these pastime and then see that how great devotee like Sri Madhvendra Puri, and even they don't want any fame, but fame is following them like anything. So that's how it is. Okay, we'll conclude for today. We'll continue tomorrow from 148. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Shri Chaitanya Charitamrita ki jai. Shri
Jai.
Chaitanya Mahaprabhu ki jai.
Jai.
Hare Krishna. Thank you,
Hare Krishna.
Prabhuji.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.